live below their means. I want to live the best life I can possibly live. So I talk about this often. I use liability. If I want to buy a new Ferrari, I first buy an asset, and the asset pays for the Ferrari. I wanted a Rolls Royce. Why? Because I never had a Rolls Royce. I've had Bentleys. So I built an asset, and the asset then bought my Rolls Royce. Now I'm kind of bored with cars. So I don't have a guilty thing, is that I have financial education, which is what the Rich Dad Company teaches. And you can have the same thing too. You just have to stop listening to those school teachers who are poor. You know, most school teachers, like my poor dad, very good people, but they're so terrified of making mistakes. They want a steady paycheck, and they want a guaranteed pension. I don't think you can get rich from that point of view. Look at this chart here. It's called the cash flow quadrant. E and S, employee and self-employed. That was my poor dad. You know, these guys work for money. These guys are not capitalists. They work for money, and they invest their own money. On the B and the I side is my rich dad side. That's the capitalist side. Capitalists use other people's labor and other people's money to get rich. Which side do you want to be on? I'd rather be on the capitalist side. So that's the only difference. It's a whole shift of mindset and education, but everybody can do it if you want to do it. It was really hard because I didn't like, I'm actually a very shy person. Mm-hmm. So learning how to sell was the hardest thing I could do. Yeah. But if I hadn't spent 4 years learning how to sell, I never made it here, I never made it here. Mm-hmm.
So the entire time that you were here, you were preparing to jump to the other quadrant?
Correct. Mm-hmm. So every job is not so much for the high-paying job with job security. Yeah. For not everybody. You know, most people should have job security because they're not designed to be entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. But if you're going to be an entrepreneur, then you better take this job and say, well, which way am I going to go?
Yeah. Okay.
So I knew my job at Xerox was to go here and here and here, not stay here. Mm-hmm. And I actually make so much money over here that I don't need job security, I need the money. So really that's the lesson. When you look at a job, you look at what can I learn more than how much can I make. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the biggest challenge. And if you look for a job where you can learn a lot, the harder the job, the better it is. Yeah. Do you know? What makes something an asset or liability is the two most important words in business: cash flow. Which way is the cash flowing? So an asset, if the money is flowing into your income statement, it's an asset. So my rich dad would say, if money is flowing into your pocket, it's an asset. If money is flowing out of your pocket, it's a liability. So the average person, they go out and they buy a house, they say, oh, it's an asset. But every month, it's flowing straight to the bank. So your money flows straight to the bank. Not that intelligent. You know, I want the money to flow from the bank to me. So it flows to the bank. Or what they'll do is they'll buy a stock or a bond or a mutual fund, and it's an asset, and it flies straight to Wall Street. Not your asset, it's Wall Street's asset. And the third line, when you look under expense, first line is tax. So the average employee, like my poor dad, with a high-paying job, the money comes in, goes straight out the taxes and to the government. Does that make sense? So when you get a job, first line, taxes; second, mortgage to the bank; third, your 401k or your IRA, straight to Wall Street. But you think they're assets. It's not, they're assets, but they're not your asset. So that's one of the big things my rich dad taught me, is you got to control your cash flow. You want the money flowing into your pocket, not out of your pocket. So the one last thing I'll show you here is this is the asset column. This is what Rich Dad worked for. He worked for assets. He didn't want a job. And this is my poor dad here. He wanted a high-paying job. Different mindsets. So today, you know, I still go home to Hawaii. I see my relatives, and they call me Bobby. Bobby, Bobby, have you got a job yet? And I go, no, Auntie, I don't have a job. She goes, oh, too bad, you're unemployed. I said, yep. So their mindset is they've been programmed to be employees to work for the rich. And that's what my rich dad taught me. So it's all here in the financial statement. The rich work for assets. The poor and middle class work for money. Very different mindset. So I don't want a job. I just want the asset that produces income called cash flow. Not taxable. Not taxable.